Alrighty, let's talk about monitors. If you've ever been on stage and thought, man, I really can't hear myself, it's a very common problem. A lot of venues have volunteers that run their front of house systems, and the equipment is used by many people and you don't have the same setup every week. Often this leads to having very poor quality monitor mixes on stage for musicians, and it's the number one thing that musicians complain about. It's not being able to hear themselves on the stage. So what can you really do about this? Most venues have wedge monitors, and these are great, but the problem is the stage is really loud. You get feedback from the microphones when you use them. Often if the front of house has a limited number of channels, you can only have that number of mixes, so you can't really have an independent mix for every musician on the stage. Now, there's a few things you can do about this. The first one is to use one of the XLR outputs on one of the floor wedge monitors and use some sort of in-ear monitoring device. This could be something like a Behringer PM1 that takes an XLR connection, and you can plug a headphone straight into it, so you have a wired in-ear monitor coming straight from the monitor wedge. You could even plug your in-ear monitor transmitter box straight into the monitor wedge as well. The problem with that is you're at the mercy of whatever stage mix the front of house gives to those monitors, and often the mix is for the monitors and doesn't really sound great in your in-ears. So what can you do if that's the case? Most musicians play on stage through DI boxes. Most DI boxes, if you look at them very closely, they will have an input and usually another jack labeled as a link. And that is an output that sends a copy of your signal out of the DI box. So the XLR is going to go to front of house, but we've got this link that's quite useful. You could take the link input and plug that into your in-ear monitor system, but then you'll only hear yourself. Something else you can do is take a little personal mixer like one of these. You can use the feed from the wedge monitor in one channel, and you could use the link out from your DI box in another channel. So you'll get the monitor mix on the stage, but you can also turn yourself up and blend that in with the monitor mix and send that to your headphones or your in-ear monitor transmitter. This is great, but it means everybody on stage will need to have one of these systems, and you'll need to have something that gives you more outputs so that you can link everybody's outputs together. Now there is one other solution for this: wireless in-ear monitor mixer rigs. And these will usually be a rack mount mixer with a few microphone splitters. These rack mixers will generally connect to in-ear monitor transmitters that the musicians are using on the stage, and they'll be able to control their own mix personally with their phones. So over here we've got my personal in-ear monitor rig. Essentially what this is just 16 inputs on the front. And these inputs are mic splitters. They are wired directly into this mixer round the back. So a copy of the signal reaches this mixer, and you can do whatever you want with it. And then if we look around the back, we've got an additional 16 outputs, and these go directly to the stage snake for front of house. One of the benefits you get from using a system like this is you can have up to 16 or more independent mixes to use on stage. So you could use these for independent monitor wedges and have each musician get a custom mix in their own floor monitor. Or you could send audio to multiple wired or wireless in-ear monitor systems and have every musician on stage control their mix from the phone. It's completely independent of whatever front of house is doing. So they'll be able to control the main mix from the desk at the back, and the musicians control all of their own monitor mixes on stage from their phones. Something else that is also worth noting is you can use this as a mixer on its own. So you can put a digital snake into this mixer and use it as a system to power front of house with its own speakers. But then you wouldn't plug in through the splitter, you'd plug all the instruments in through the snake, and you'll be using the mixer directly to power everything.